Exeter Unified School District Superintendent, board members, Tulare County Superintendent, because they support you and we need to really support them. They're under a tremendous amount of pressure and their heart is joined with your heart. So to begin, Tim Heyer, Mr. Tim Heyer in the very back, Tulare County Superintendent. We're all taking time away from your hands to come out here. Superintendent of Exeter Unified School District, Mr. George Eddy. Exeter Unified School District board member and neighbor, Mr. Mark Hillwig. Miss Amanda Renteria, also Exeter Unified School District board member. Stand up, Amanda, please. Thank you, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. I went in, made an appointment, and met with Superintendent Eddy last week when it was raining so much and had to walk through a flood to get in there. The first thing that I really noted in our conversation is he said, Vicki, you're the first parent that has made an appointment to come in here and talk to me. And so I just want you to know, and Virginia, by the way, is doing really well because parents stood up for their kids. So it looks like that's going to be a turnaround because the incumbent had said some things that parents don't have control, but I say parents do have control if we just band together, and not just with Exeter, but with all the districts, with Tulare, with Visalia. And so we have representation here with Mr. Heyer to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get the show on the road with the first welcome and intro, Mr. Paul Belt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Unmasked Tulare County, we want to welcome all of you here. Oh yes, we do need to be kind of centered. We are live streaming this right now on our Facebook page, as well as allowing people to look at it later. Our goal tonight is this. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Let that sink in. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Every one of you here tonight represent caring. Every one of our administrators that came tonight, they didn't have to, they represent caring. And so our ground rules will be just that. We want to be civil. We want to be showing that we care. Because ultimately who we care about the most and what we're talking about the most are our kids, as well as staff and other teachers and employees. And it kind of ripples, doesn't it, to every aspect of what we're living through today. And so we're here to find out, what can we do? What should we do? And what is going on? But to start with, I want to encourage you with something. You know, tonight I wore my most patriotic shirt because I do love America. And in my 65 years, I've never seen as much division as I've seen today about this issue and many other things. So we're going to start by doing something very unifying. We're going to start by doing this Pledge of Allegiance. Do you remember how to do that? Can you stand with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then one of my former vocations that I don't think you ever are a former, because I was a pastor for 30 plus years. So will you pray with me right now? Father, we thank you that we're here, not by accident, but by passion, desire, friends, family, community members. We're here to hear truth. We're here to share optimism and hope that this can be more and more an opportunity for unifying rather than separating us. Guide our tongues, our hearts, our minds tonight as we show that we care, and then we come to know what the truth is. So Lord, watch over this evening. Thank you that we still live in a free country that lets us do even just this. That is to call out to you and in Jesus' name, ask that it would be so. Amen? Amen. Amen. So tonight, again, like I said, the ground rules are going to be very simple. We're going to give time for each one of our speakers to make an address to you. We're going to go one after the other, so to make the best use of our time. And then we're going to have a question and answer time where you can ask questions and get some answers from any one of these, or all of us collectively are here to be able to get answers from each other as well as to ask pertinent questions. What we ask is that you don't shout out profanities, call people names. It's not personal, though we take it personally, right? To see that we move forward. And so that's what we want to do tonight. So our first speaker this evening is a part of a coalition, if you will, grassroots, that we just stumbled, we, meaning I've been a part of the Unmasked Tulare County for the last several months. But I come across this amazing guy and his association of several people in Porterville who are doing amazing things to get people to talk to one another and find out what their rights are and what they can do. And so we're going to first have Josh Flowers from Blessings to Liberty. Is that Blessings in Liberty?
Of Liberty.
Of. I knew we'd get the right pronoun. Of Liberty. Josh.
Thank you, Paul. I will try to watch my language tonight. Sorry. Okay. Real quick introduction. My name is Josh Flowers. I got to stay in front of the camera. Sorry. Real quick, what Paul was saying is that we, and a group of us out there in Porterville, we started Blessings of Liberty 30 days ago. And it became a very powerful movement because we have a just cause. Now, let me introduce you a little bit or give you a little background of what happened to get here. As all of you know, there has been a lot of changes going on in our country right now. And there is enough there to make me concerned and ask the question, what type of future am I going to leave my children? I'm sure many of you here today have that same question. I'm married to my beautiful wife here for almost half my life, just had a birthday, 42 years old. So that's a long time. And I got a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. So there's a lot on the table when it talks about what is coming. And we have, I am not religious in the standpoint of going to church, but I do pray. I do believe, and I have prayed more in the last 10 months of my life than I ever have. Now, learning how those answers come, I'm a little slow, just so you guys know, because it took me 9 months to figure it out. So I was praying every day. I said, hey, Lord, how can I fix this? What is going on with our country? What do I need to do? And it was a nonstop prayer just like that. And almost every time I said that prayer, I had a discussion with my wife, and my wife was telling me, hey, there's some great things going on around the world right now. They're saving the children will unite us. She just kept saying that, right? And so I was like, cool, I'm glad they're doing that. I mean, we got to care about the kids. And so I kept praying. Here I am. I'm in the middle of late July, early August. Kids are going back to school. And I realized, I wake up out of sleep. I go, oh my gosh, I have to save the kids. 9 months it took me to figure that out, okay? So again, I might not be sharp, but I'll figure it out. So what I did, took action. Immediately wrote to the school district, told the board, hey, you may not know what's going on, but I think we're being scammed. I'm going to tell you what I think it is. I think there's no way you're going to stop this virus. It's not going to happen. I know enough science that this isn't going to work. But they'll play your game. I sent them all the documentations from the Defenders of Children, I think it was, and no response. I got 0 response from them. So I thought, oh no, their email's not working. So I thought I might as well go down there to the school board. So I sent a text to 50 of my people on my contact list. 3 of us showed up. One of them's out here tonight, Dawn. I want to tell you guys, thank you very much for showing up and protecting these kids. So I had the same conversation with them. I said, hey, you may not have got my email, but this is what it said, right? I said, these masks could be causing more harm to your child than you know. You know, bacterial infection is real in their lungs. Oxygen, they need oxygen. And the school kind of looked at me blank. I said, no, I don't think you're understanding. If we don't stop the mask now, you're going to be rolling into mandatory vaccinations. It's going to happen. I told him, I have a science background. No science experiment in history did you use 100% of the sample pool. You must have a control group. But yet they want to do 100% of everybody. No, something's not right. So I went to my wife and said, hey, well, I can't go to work. This is on my heart. I have to fix this. I don't know what to do. So I went and asked for 30 days off work. And I went out to the community and I just started talking to people, trying to figure out where the problem is. Why are we so divided, like Paul was saying? Division is not America, right? So I'm out there and I'm asking, and I realized very quickly it's the vaccinations. As soon as you bring up the word vaccination, it is an instant divider. I call it the great divider. So I went back and I started thinking about it, and I go, I'm going to try something different. So I went back out there and I told everybody, I said, what type of future are we going to leave our kids? When I started approaching it that way, things changed. Do we want our kids to be living in a way that they have to beg and ask for permission for stuff, or do they get a free society? That's kind of where we're at right now. We have to make some hard decisions. So as you guys know, our country is off course. And what I learned is very disturbing. Our value system is messed up. We are now prioritizing money over the safety and the rights of all of us. This is a problem. Our elected representatives, we delegate them the authority to act on our behalf, to do one thing and one thing only, which is secure our rights. And when they fail to do so, we must remember that word delegate or delegate is temporary in nature. When our politician leaders abuse their power, we must say no more, take back our authority by assembling, just like we're doing right now today, to solve this problem. Do you guys know what your rights are? They don't teach that often in school anymore. But I'll tell you, this is right off the California Constitution. Starts off saying, all people are by nature free and independent and have inalienable rights. Among these are to enjoy and defend life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness and privacy. These are all under attack right now. My goal today is to remind you, if not just educate you a little bit, on the framework of our Constitution and how the power is supposed to be designed in America. There's a hierarchy. They laid it out. First, there's God. God created man. Man created society. Society created the state. And the states created the federal government. Correct? Now let me ask you, who has more power in this authority? Is it the creator or the creation? The creator, right? So that it would make sense that the federal government is constantly trying to trick us and fool us, saying, hey, we'll fix it the next 4 years. We're going to fix it the next 2 years. This is all designed to keep you from understanding what actually has the power, and it's you. You all have the power. We have the power. That's why it says we the people. If you want to fix things, you don't go to the weakest part of government. You go to the most powerful parts of government. That's right here local. Okay? Here's why we're going to do this. If the rest of the world wants to burn itself to the ground, we know we have each other's backs. We will secure our liberties, and we will have some sense of normalcy here. Our sheriff is the most important ally that we have. If you remember the hierarchy I was explaining to you earlier, the sheriff is the most powerful representative you elect. He has the authority to reject any laws, mandates, which do not secure your rights. He is constitutionally bound, and he has absolute authority within his jurisdiction. This is why the state and federal government always try to bribe and trick the sheriff department into shiny new toys, and they try to tell them, hey, through mutual jurisdiction agreements, we'll let you have these. And I call this condition-based money, meaning that you get the money as long as you do what I tell you you have to do. We can't let that happen, and it's happening. Condition-based money is a huge problem right now. It's infiltrated throughout the entire government. When your representation or your representatives tell you, we have no choice, our hands are tied, you don't understand, things are getting bad. Well, here's the thing. All you have to do is give up a little bit of your freedoms and we can fix it with money. Once you give up your freedoms, you'll never get them back. Once you lose the ability to say no, you are no longer a free society. You are a slave. The only way to stop this is to take back your power. Remember, you have it. This pains me right here. This is not about vaccines or masks. This is about money, and a lot of it. This is about asking ourselves, what do we value more, money or our kids' safety? Makes me mad, Paul. Makes me mad. Who is willing to fight? Who is willing to save our children? Who is willing to defend those who cannot defend themselves? Is there not a more noble calling? Who is ready to stand up? Stand up with us. Show me. Thank you. We can do this together. We can do this united. And I will swear to you this. I have each and every one of your backs if you need me. Thank you. It is time we say no more. It is time we say what is right and what is wrong. Our trust has been broken. We have raised a spoiled little brat of a government, and we have to whip it back into shape. It's going to take some tough love, but we can do it. Those who abuse our trust, it's time for them to step down. Yes. I'm talking about city council members, school board members, superintendents. Anyone who puts money over securing our rights, they are not fit to lead us. Perhaps they never were. Our kids will not be science experiments. For those who are on the fence, let me tell you quickly about Emily. Emily is she's a mother of a 14-year-old. She was excited about him getting the Moderna shot. They went and got it, got the first one. Asked the kid, are you excited? Are you happy you did it? And the kid said, obviously, yes. I'm glad I took it. That's good. She comes back on Twitter a few days later and she goes, well, whenever the second shot happens, says, well, it's been 4 days. He's running a high fever. And we had to take him to the hospital. Found out he has something called myocarditis. Did not know that word existed until this vaccine came out for kids. Myocarditis. Thank you. Keep saying it. Say it over until I figure it out. Myo. Okay. So the idea is it's damage to the heart, and the heart cannot repair itself. Unfortunately, Emily did not know that she was responsible for all the hospital bills that come with that. She's also responsible now for hospital bills that have to occur every time he goes back for the rest of his life. Because nobody is liable. We fall underneath this Emergency Use Act and nobody is liable for this, and you cannot force that on us. I'm here today to tell you, you are not alone. Sometimes it may feel like you're alone, but we are getting ready to make history right here. There's a change coming, but it's going to take each and every one of us. spirit of our community is building. People are standing, they are speaking, and they are marching. We have unified under a banner of we will not comply, and there is more power in numbers, and there is definitely power in unity. Yes. We have warriors already in motion, taking the fight to the very people who are trying to take your freedoms away. We have parents pledging their lives to stand for the children. We have business owners who are pledging their fortunes to stand up for what is right. And we have attorneys pledging their sacred honor to risk everything for our children and our teachers in court. Your community needs you. Your country needs you. Need you. I need you. I'm a dad. And this is a call for every dad, mom, uncle, aunt, grandparent to stand up and fight for your children with your lives. If we don't take this fight on, lives will be lost. And for what? Money. This is assault on our very way of life. I'm going to leave you with this. You're going to be pushed outside your comfort zone. But that's where real lasting change occurs. I promise you that. This movement is not led by me, Jimmy, Marilyn, Casey, none of us. I hope that's okay I speak for you. It's much bigger than that. Like I said, I don't go to church. But I do pray when I need to clear my mind for what lies ahead. I know we have the authority to fix our government, but God is the ultimate authority we have to answer to. I prayed and was led to stand the path to stand for the children. I was kind, I was nice, and I educated the school boards. And when they did not listen, I served them with a 5-day corrective action notice. And when they did not listen to that, I gave a speech asking for help, saying, hey, I need a lawyer. God sent me the White family, who pledged their fortune to fight the fight for what is right. But we still don't have a lawyer. We called over 70 law firms. 70. They didn't want to take it. Then I went to Jimmy's and Marilyn's second meeting. And I did something I never did before. Prayed as a group. To receive a specific answer for our needs. Obviously, I asked for a lawyer. Nothing happened. I went home that night thinking, well, kind of a hard fight to fight without a lawyer. But it will be provided. The very next morning, I got a text from Betty. Said, I think I got your guy. He's not very big, not a big lawyer, but I think he's your David to go up against Goliath. I am proud to announce we are taking the fight back to the school boards. Yeah. What they are doing to the teachers and the staff is absolutely wrong. We're not just going for one district. We're going to handle all the districts within Tulare County. And for our children, I'm going to need a group of parents to come together. We'll pledge a little bit of money together, and we will build a case to protect them as well. Right. So, I know I talked a lot, sorry. So I urge each and every one of you to make sure you sign in. It is critically important that we continue to communicate. This is a call for massive action. Without movement, nothing will happen. Remember, the hardest steps are just the first few. Commit to them, challenging yourself to reach that level of uncomfortability. You guys may believe this or you may not, but I'm the guy in the back of the room who's quiet. I'm the guy who doesn't hang out in big crowds. I'm very uncomfortable. But I'm here with you guys. I'm going to leave this in closing. We have a chance to fight this without bloodshed. But the fight has to be now. Later will not work. Teachers must stand up and walk off the jobs together. Parents must band together and pull their children from the public schools. We must unite and march together to show solidarity. We value our liberties. The phrase, "do not tread on me," must be your new motto. And I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. There you go.
Thanks, Josh. As you can tell, he's blooming right now. You know the old joke that any pastor who says, and in closing, it really means he's still got several more points to go. And he's learned that. That was pretty good. I also want to encourage you that, as we said at the very beginning, or as I said, I guess, people don't care what you know until what? They know that you care. The second thing I want to share with you that's also on our website at unmaskedtularecounty.com, freedom is not a privilege. It is a God-given right. And so what we're sharing tonight, each one of our speakers, and we've told them 10 minutes, so if it goes a little more, some are going to be a little less. We've encouraged them to share their hearts. And so if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. If you feel like, I'm not sure I agree with everything that person just, it's okay. Because we are giving them the opportunity to share their hearts, their passion, the reason that they have been involved in what area they're involved with in the last several months, so that then when we come to the question and answer time, you have a resource idea, a little bit of a tip of the iceberg of the library that's available for you. And Josh just shared with you something. This whole legal thing was something that just he found out that God does answer. It came out of nowhere, the answer did, and that is an attorney who will take on cases that can actually be adjudicated because others are afraid to. And if we don't speak to anything more tonight than that, maybe that's what we need to hear. Fear is not the passion that should drive us. Truth should be the passion that drives us. And so that's what we're calling on. We're calling for truth. We want to express it. We want to be standing in it. We want to be moving in it. And we want to drive fear right back to, well, you know where it's supposed to go. Okay. I also need to make one other comment because I forgot to mention it earlier. We had invited our assemblyman to be here, or an assemblyman to be here, and you see that he's not. And to his credit, we understood that he decided he needed to be at the supervisor meeting of Tulare County. It's talking about the redistricting thing that they're working on, and it happens cyclically all the time. It's very unique, though, in Tulare County to be doing that. So he excused himself or canceled himself from here, but we found a good replacement. So in a few minutes, we'll get to meet who that replacement is. But next, we want to have, again, a 10-minute phrase, but she can take as long as she needs to. This young lady is a hardworking school employee who cares about health, because that's what she does vocationally. But tonight, she's here representing People of Freedom of Exeter, Casey Swift. Come on, Casey.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me? My name is Casey Swift, and let me welcome you to the small town of Exeter. I graduated from Exeter High School in 2005. bought my first home here, and have chosen to raise my children in this town. I am a mother of 3 great kids. Isaiah is 12, Michael is 9, and Allison is 6. So as you can imagine, they keep me very busy. As a school nurse for Exeter Unified School District since 2013, I have built a unique connection with all of the children within our community. This is my 9th school year. I have watched many of these kids grow up from elementary school to high school graduation. When it comes to our children's health, I am extremely passionate. I am like a mama bear with her cubs. Which brings me to why we are here tonight. Today, I am speaking about why words matter. As a nurse, I took an oath. I solemnly pledge myself before God and in the presence of this assembly to pass my life in purity and to practice my profession faithfully. I will abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous and will not take or knowingly administer any harmful drug. I will do all in my power to maintain and elevate the standard of my profession and will hold in confidence all personal matters committed to my keeping and all family affairs coming to my knowledge in the practice of my calling. With loyalty will I endeavor to aid the physician in his work and devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care. These words matter to me, and they should matter to everyone else as well. If our words don't hold any weight, then neither should our actions. You and everyone who are not here should begin to question what is the true intent of what is going on here. I want to make something very clear. The reason I am so passionate about this is because as a nurse, we are trained to make sure people have what is called informed consent prior to administering medicine. I do not see this happening. Has anyone really been told what the downside or side effects are of the vaccine? Has anyone really questioned why we want to give this to our children? A child's immune system is virtually indestructible when it comes to COVID-19. Again, the language I am hearing from our trusted organizations is causing me a great deal of concern because words matter. When I hear everyone saying FDA approved for children and adults, this means virtually nothing because all of it is falling under the Emergency Use Act. So if we are to translate what that actually means in layman's terms, this is an experiment. Our government wants all of us to be part of an experiment. Why the push? I think what makes me so sick to my stomach is the way coworkers and friends of mine have changed with this narrative. We have people stressed out, worried about losing their careers, their livelihood, and instead of standing with them united, saying what is right, my body, my choice, freedom over force, I am seeing people fight each other. I am seeing hatred between coworkers where they are ostracizing their so-called friends based on their personal belief system and vaccination status. This is not right. The government has no business telling an individual what they must do with them. And that is why I'm here today. I am standing up for those who feel they are alone, who feel that nobody cares, who feel like everyone is against them. I am telling you here today, not on my watch. Fear has no place in our society. It is breaking down the very fabric of our culture. It is time to call this out for what it is. Discrimination. This is designed to divide us, to have us going at each other's throats. This is not who we are. This is not Exeter. This is not Tulare County. This is not America. We stand together. We fight together. We win together. So let me sum this up for you tonight. I took a pledge and oath, which I indeed kept. I will fight for each and every one of you. You have the right to make whatever medical decision you decide with your body. I value freedom, I value unity, and I value our community. Nobody from the state has the authority to tell us what we have to do. It's time to call out discrimination when we see it and tell people to stop. What you are doing is not right. Leave them alone. This is the new civil rights fight of our time. I'm going to leave you with this here tonight. 2 quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Remember, words matter.
Thank you, Casey. Wow. I want you to take a moment and look around. Too often we come into a room, we sit down and we kind of get focused. I want you to look around. I want you to see all ages, all backgrounds, all different kinds of ethnic groups, if you will. I hate to do that. All kinds of vocations, all ages. This is America. This is Tulare County. This is what's unique about where we live in the Central Valley, which I know some of us probably think we should have already seceded from California long ago. That's another debate for another time. But you remember what I first said. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. My adult children wonder why I'm involved in this. Some of my adult children say, Dad, you're getting too old to do this kind of thing. Stop going on the street corner and holding up that sign. I've had a sign since May of 2020. I didn't bring it tonight, but it's still true. Safe means never. When someone tries to tell you, particularly the government says, we're going to keep you what? Safe. It means never. So it breaks my heart that my own children, who are young men now, don't see the same principles that I've raised them with. Some of your neighbors may not see that. So like I said tonight, I had hoped that particularly that assemblyman had come, not just for us to hear what he had to say, but to do what? Have him hear what we have to say. And there are leaders throughout this group here tonight who are doing just that, as they should, absorbing what you have to say. Because they may not be hearing it, hopefully, civilly, like we are trying to do tonight. So our replacement for our esteemed assemblyman who was too busy to be here was a very good replacement. Far younger, far more energy, because the leader of the organization that he represents is like that. If you've ever been around Charlie Kirk or ever seen anything from him, you'll see that he made a good selection in Matthew White to run Turning Point USA in Fresno. And so here's Matthew White.
Appreciate that, everybody. So I just was tagged to speak just a few days ago, and I ran into Vicki, and I appreciate being invited to come and speak, and Jimmy's group, and being able to go to the school boards because, and I don't just run out of Fresno County, I actually oversee all of Central California. So I've been going to school boards up and down the state and seeing the issues that are facing our state and our country, really. And just a side note, I was hearing, I know we had mentioned Virginia earlier, and we're looking at the number one issue in the state of Virginia was education. And so I know most people here need hope about what's going on, and I hope to bring you guys some hope through some of my conversations and some of the battles that we've seen over the past year with Turning Point USA. Is we actually have 17 groups here in Central California. So we stretch all the way from Merced all the way to Bakersfield. And we also do everything on the Central Coast. So we have everybody on the coast. They're not all leftists, trust me. They're not all leftists out there. And so our goal here, and we were talking about it earlier, is promotion of civics and people knowing their rights. And some of the goals that we have with our group here are promoting the Constitution, personal responsibility, American exceptionalism, because most students don't know their rights, especially when the vaccines came out. A lot of students were like, oh, well, I just have to get it. I just have to get it. And my mom's a teacher. My background goes back in education. My uncle was a trustee. My great uncle was a trustee. And I was like, oh my goodness. And we talk to students every single day. I visit a college campus every single day. I'm either Bakersfield or Fresno State. And most students were like, oh, I didn't even know we were supposed to be required to get a vaccine. They don't even know what the rules are. The emails I get from administration is very vague. And a lot of students are confused nowadays on, okay, where are we at in a country? Do we just comply? But what I've seen is there have been groups of students. At Fresno State was a good example this past year. A couple of years ago, maybe it'd been different, but a lot of students are waking up. 200 students got involved at Fresno State this past year. And it continues to grow. Tulare Union High School, if you guys know Tulare Union, not too far, they started a group on campus, and they had 75 Patriots sign up this year. And so my fight, I feel, is going to be in education. I got involved with Turning Point USA just about a year ago. I came up on my 1-year anniversary about a week ago. And it all started at Fresno Pacific University. I had a choice that I had back then where I was doing podcasts and different things, and I had been marginalized for my beliefs. Being a conservative and loving your country was so radical. I remember putting my support behind law enforcement during a time that's been crazy. It's been a crazy year and a half. Think about it. They said, "Hey, we're gonna slow the spread. We're gonna do what's safe for people." Right? The same stuff we've heard for months, and we are on the verge of losing our country. I was on my way. I was having a conversation on the way over here with one of my good friends who runs a group out in Fresno. I was just thinking about it, like how far we've come. It was March, and I remember everybody remembers that week in March when they said, "Hey, we're gonna close everything down. Our schools are gonna get shut down." And everything kind of was crazy. I never got to finish my senior year, went into campus, and now we're in a fight for everything. And we've been doing a lot of stuff at Turning Point here in the Valley. One of my leaders at Fresno City College, just a story here, is everybody on our team got the vaccine except for her, Addison Worth. And she just put on a rally in Fresno. We had over 150 people that came out to the rally and showed support. And a lot of students came out too and were like, this is what it's about. It's about people mobilizing like we see here. This is a big room of patriots, as we see. We are Americans. And it's up to us to be able to stand up and do this. And another story is we had a student at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She was another athlete. And they put a lot of strict measures in on the vaccines. And one of the things that was specifically for athletes, there was no exemptions, no religious, no medical. You got to get the vaccine or you got to leave athletics. So anything that you had desired to do previously. And she said, I'm not doing that. I came here to swim. I want to compete. And it started with 20 athletes taking a stand on campus. And I know Pacific Justice Institute is fighting. We've been working closely with them to defend our students on our campus. And she stood up to the coaching staff and put everything on the line, her whole reputation, and Charlie brought her in and had an interview and did all of that. And they put just enough pressure on the administration where they granted her an exemption. The worst part about it, though, is it started with 20 athletes standing up, and then half of those decided to get the jab and take the vaccine. But those 10 students that did stand up, that's what the people in this room are. They think that we are the minority, that is completely opposite. I grew up knowing that this country was the greatest country to ever exist in the history of the world. That personal responsibility and hard work are what's going to get us into the future to live the American dream. My grandfather came from Colima, Mexico. My dad came from a very poor family, and my mom as well. And they always said, education, education. It's about doing it for the kids. And that's why we're here. And as I visit school board after school board, I see parents, and these school boards hope that we stop standing up, that we stop showing up. And they say, and they roll their eyes, and I know you guys probably hear it. You guys go to school board meetings, and you hear it. And I've gone to Kern County, Fresno, Tulare County, all over the place, and they always say the same thing. We can't do anything. Our hands are tied. Right? Oh, we don't want to lose state funding. What hill are they going to die on? Is it going to be the vaccine? What's after the vaccine? You're just not going to be able to go to school, and Newsom's trying to take homeschool away now as well. And we keep saying, oh, we're just going to concede a little bit. We're just going to give them a little bit. We'll give something to the governor. And we just continue to see our rights taken away one by one by one. And sure enough, we won't have a country. So I'm going to fight for you guys. I've been fighting for our students on campus for 1.5 years now. I went through very crazy things in terms of Fresno Pacific. If you guys want to ask me questions later, have a conversation about it, I can get into it a little bit. But I'm here to fight for you guys, and I hope that you guys are too, and that our students stand up on our campuses, because ultimately our students are the ones going to our campuses. That's how they get funding. And the parents have to be there to support. So I'm here to fight for you guys, and I appreciate you guys having me speak tonight. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matthew. There are a couple of events happening tonight. I don't know if you're aware, there is a town hall happening like this in downtown Fresno tonight. Pastor Franklin announced just a few days after we decided to do this. There's also a school board review, if you will, of a replacement for a Visalia Unified School District board member. And they're having interview, a very transparent public interview, so that people can be there and hear and see. It's happening at LJ Williams right now. So all over our valley, there are meetings of people like yourselves who are desiring to see change or things taken care of well and correctly. So thank you for coming to be a part of that. Back in June, this group started because a mama bear said, I think we need to do something. And then her husband got alongside of her and said, okay, I'll help you with it. And then a few others of us got alongside them and showed up at school board meetings. We really weren't sure what we were going to do, except let it be known to our school board at Visalia. We're here, we're involved, we want to have your support. We want to be your backside keepers if we can. And so we have seen some success, we've seen some change happen, but we have to give credit where credit is due for the how shall I say it, the more attractive side of the Molloys. Here's Marilyn Molloy from Unmasked Tulare County.
So, okay. I don't like microphones, but I feel like I need one because even though I can get loud, I don't know if I can get loud enough for this room. It's very overwhelming to see the amount of people here tonight. But it just goes to show that change needs to be made. And I think we can all agree that, I mean, that's why we're here, right? So my name is Marilyn Molloy. Just to give you a little background information on me. You know, Paul said it just right. I'm a mama bear. That's all I am. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a scientist. I'm not, you know, I don't have the letters behind my name. I actually worked for Costco Wholesale for 15 years. So if I look familiar, it's probably because you saw me out like in the rain pushing up carts or something. Until this last year hit, you know, it hit us hard, just like it did probably all of you guys. And finally, in June of this year, I resigned from my job at Costco of 15 years because I could see the writing on the wall and I knew that I had to stand up and fight. I knew that there was something stirring in me. It was stirring in me and I couldn't shake it. Jacob, will you stand up? He didn't know I was going to do this. This is my youngest son, Jacob. He has special needs. So, you know, when he was about 2, you know, we learned that things weren't quite going as planned and stuff. And as a special needs mom, you learn that, you know, things aren't going to go, you know, as you had initially planned. And one thing I've learned is how to advocate for my son. And now I'm learning that I need to advocate not just for him, but, you know, I have another son also. I need to advocate for him too. And not just for my boys, but your kids too. This is a fight for all of us parents. And if there's one thing that mama bears know how to do, it is fight. And I'm not talking about physical. It's not physical. I realized that stirring that was inside of me, I was like, what is this? Like, I can't let this go. And I realized that it was a conviction, that God was convicting me. Because this isn't my jam, you guys. This isn't me. You know, my husband's going to speak after me, and you guys are going to be like, wow, he's way better at that than her. And this is his niche. This is what he's good at. But I've realized that God is calling me, and he's saying, I need you to speak up too. I need you to speak up. And we all need to speak up, and we all have a role to play in this. Because if you guys start looking things up, a lot of us have realized that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 anymore. There's things that aren't adding up, guys. What's going on?
That's Common Core.
Yeah, I didn't take Common Core, you know? I do want to get a little bit into the things that I tried to talk in code because I'm scared that we're going to get taken down.
It's still up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. For now.
hasn't taken us off yet.
For now, we'll see. Because we have a group on Facebook. We have reached. We've been in this for about 4 months. We're at about 1,200 members, and we're having to get really, creative with how we have to learn their, but there's some concerns about these things that they're wanting to inject our children with. I want to show you guys something. I'm going to do this off camera. Where did it go? Oh, it's right here. Will you hold this for me? I'm going to open this up and then I'll explain what it is. Thank you. You are.
White piece of paper.
Does anybody know what this is? I bet some of you guys do. I bet some of you guys have seen the video. So I'm nosy. And I saw this video. So of course I had to do my own research because I'm like, no, like that's crazy. No, so I got a copy for myself. This is the package insert for the Moderna vaccine. I'll read it to you guys. This is your informed consent. It says intentionally blank. That should concern everybody. It says intentionally blank. You guys can look at it. That's all it says. Intentionally blank. I believe it says that like 3 times on there. Thank you.
Wow.
VAERS has reported the deaths from the injection is up to over, I believe, last I heard was 17,000. And they want to give that to our kids. That's a concern, you guys. We need to we need to hold the line. Enough is enough. Period. No more.
Mama bears, don't mess with mom. Our final speaker in this hour to finish sharing on our hearts the ideas, the passion, the topics that we wanted to address and bring forward before we go into our question and answer time. He's become the face, even though he didn't want to be. This is the most reluctant leader I've ever met. So here's the leader of Unmasked Tulare County, Jimmy Molloy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm excited. I'm excited to see a room full of people with standing room only to come out to fight for what's right? And we're talking about kids, but we're also talking about a lot of us, and I say us because I'm in the same boat, who are facing really difficult decisions in our families and in our lives. Our livelihoods are being threatened because of convictions, right? Marilyn talked about convictions a minute ago. And that's what a lot of us in this room, that's what a lot of us around this county have been experiencing and feeling, is just a conviction. And it's crazy that we are where we are. But I'm so encouraged, and I'm going to get to this in just a minute to see all of you here. I'm going to start with a quote from a former president of ours. You guys might know this guy. His name was Ronald Reagan. And it's a quote that's fairly familiar, but I think it's very applicable to what we're dealing with right now. Some of you have heard this before. He said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States when men were free." Pause for like 5 seconds. Just let that soak in. There's a real possibility that we could be telling in our sunset years, our children and our children's children, what it was like in America back when men were free. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm a very optimistic person by nature. We're going to get to that in a minute. But what I wanted to make clear there is that every generation of Americans is given the opportunity at some point to protect our freedom. Now, the founding fathers started this, right? They started it by forming the Constitution, forming the nation that's become the greatest nation in the history of the world. But the founding fathers cannot fight this fight for us today. The greatest generation, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, brought us through World War II, did all of these amazing things to help build and rebuild the nation that we know and we love. But they cannot fight this fight for us today. As we've heard from these other speakers, we have a moment in time, an opportunity right now. This is our fight. This is our time to come together, to stand and say, no, enough is enough. We're not going to lose freedom on my watch. My generation is not going to be the generation that loses this for us. Because I don't have to tell you that freedom's under attack. You guys know, you read the stories, you see what's going on. Even with a media that's so one-sided and reluctant to talk about truth, you see what's going on. You talk to people in your communities. You talk to the people around your dinner table, and when you go out and you hear what's going on in everybody's life. You know that it's not a bed of roses. You know that, like Marilyn said, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. You know that. That's why you're here tonight. I don't do anything without, I'm a very, I don't want to say religious person, but I'm a God-fearing person. I'm a born-again believer, and my faith in Jesus guides everything that I do in my life. I don't do anything that I don't get involved in anything unless I feel like I'm being led by God to do that. And when Marilyn one day, she came home and she said, I was mad and I was at Target and I saw some people and I'm starting a Facebook group. And I was like, okay. She's like, will you get involved in this? I said, okay. If it's going to be a place to just go and whine and complain and share memes and nasty posts and stuff, I don't want anything to do with that. But if we're going to gather people together, if we're going to have discussions, if we're going to be a grassroots group that figures out ways to solve problems, then yes, then I'm in. I've been feeling a call, to stand up and do something like this for a while. And this has been this call. And what started out as 20 people or something on a Facebook group has blossomed into what it is today, where we're well approaching 1,300 people in the group. And that's only the people who are on Facebook. We've been able to connect to amazing groups like Porterville and Exeter. We've got Tulare, Visalia. We've got a Dinuba branch getting ready to get going. We're talking to people in Woodlake and Tipton and Pixley, trying to duplicate what we're doing in every community in Tulare County, because people all over this county feel the same way that you do, feel the same way that I do, but we're all looking at each other like, what do we do about it? we're having these conversations and we're like, man, what can we do? And I would tell you that as I've been praying about, okay, God, what are we even doing here? And there's been times where we've been so frustrated because something hasn't gone our way. Something hasn't gone the way that we thought it was going to go. And I'm like, God, what are we doing? And he says, lift up your eyes. What do you see? I said, okay, lift up what do I see? And I see the same thing I'm seeing right now, is I'm seeing an army that's building. I'm seeing people who are waking up and saying, you know what? This freedom thing, we're not going to lose it on my watch. We're not going to lose it in this generation. I'm going to stand up. I don't even know what I'm going to do because I'm just a parent. I don't know what we're supposed to do with this, but I know that what's wrong is wrong, and I'm going to stand up, and we are going to figure this thing out together. And what I see is that happening all over the county of Tulare. We're Unmasked Tulare County. We intentionally decided to, A, make it open to the entire county, and B, limit it to our county. Because you guys know there are statewide and national groups, and you guys belong to a bunch of them and all that stuff. But we need something that's going on locally that can be duplicated within our communities. And what we found is that there are hundreds and thousands of people who believe just like we do, who want to stand just like we do, but are confused just like we are about how to get to where we need to go. And I'm not standing in front of you as a guy who has all those answers. You know, this is not our jam. This is not something that we do for a profession or anything along those lines. We're a couple of parents. Josh is a parent. Casey's a parent. You know, we're just a bunch of people who said, you know what? We recognize what's happening and we need to take a stand. We need to organize and bring people into the tent, bring people into the fold. So as I lift up my eyes, what I see is a reason for encouragement. There's so much discouragement going on out there. There's so much happening. I mean, every time that you turn on the TV or you open up your Facebook or you do whatever, you're seeing the next thing is coming out. Oh my gosh, now they're doing this. Now this is happening. Now this group of people is going to lose all their jobs. And, you know, all of this kind of stuff is going on. And there's been this heaviness over the last probably month that just kind of permeates the whole community, right? You just feel it? You ever felt that? Just the heaviness. People like, I'm moving out of state. I got to go because I can't do my job anymore. People are like, I got to figure out what's going to happen. I can't put food on my table unless I go against my convictions and bow to some of these mandates. There's so many difficult decisions and so much heaviness that's happening that sometimes it's really easy to not open our eyes and see what's going on. I don't even know how many people are in here tonight, but I'm so encouraged by the fact that you're here on a Tuesday night in Exeter with so many things going on in our kids' lives and in the world. What's that? Yeah, World Series. World Series is going on. Braves are going to win it tonight, right? Yeah, okay, right on. I have an amazing story about that if you want to ask me afterwards. I'm not going to do it here. But there's so much that we can actually be encouraged with. And I want to tell you that, you know, and Marilyn could speak to this even more than I could, because you guys, if you're a part of our group, y'all are blowing her up all the time, like 24/7. It's a good thing she quit her job because she's like, oh my gosh, everybody's coming after her. Which is good, and we want the army to be built. But I just want to tell you from our perspective what we're seeing. And we're seeing the army being built that's going out and going to make a difference in this county. Now, I firmly believe that A, we're not alone, that B, we're not helpless, and Josh, you did a great job, you know, bringing that to light, and C, God is with us. God uses not the polished and the people who have it all together. He uses the ragtag group of bunch, just like you guys and just like me, right? And that's what's cool about God is you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to have it all figured out. Like I've got my 5-point plan for making this thing work. But I truly, firmly believe that God is on our side in this, and that's the only reason that we jumped into this. We're going to finish strong in this. The army is building, and I want to encourage each of you to go out there. We've got some events that are coming up here pretty quick. Obviously, we have this one tonight, and we have some other events that we'll, you know, be talking about throughout, you know, the next couple of weeks. And I want you to just be encouraged. Josh mentioned, hopefully everybody signed in at the front. We're going to sell your information for lots of money. Don't worry. Not really. We are going to take that just to be able to communicate with everybody and make sure that we are able to communicate. Marilyn mentioned the group is getting big enough now where we're starting to see some pushback from Facebook. We're building a directory, a written directory, so we can actually contact people outside of social media these days. So I would encourage you. There's some great groups represented. If you're in Porterville, like Josh is a great leader there. Casey's a great leader in Exeter. And, our Crystal Reynolds is kind of our point in Visalia. She couldn't be here tonight because she's actually interviewing for school board. How about that? We want to get you guys connected with the right people in your communities. There are other places that we mentioned earlier, Woodlake, Ivanhoe, Tipton, Pixley, Dinuba, all the other communities that are around here. If you're in this room and you're from there and you're like, you know what, I could do it if that guy could do it, if these people could do it, get in contact with us because we want to build a network and support you in any way that we can. And again, everybody has their personal opinions about vaccines, about masks, about all that kind of stuff. As a group, I want to be very clear that we are not anti-vaccine. We have lots of people who have chosen for themselves to make the decision after they've educated and decided that's what's best for them and their family, who have made the decision to be vaccinated. We don't alienate or, push any of those folks away. We are about personal choice and personal liberty and having the ability to make those choices for ourselves. Having local control. That's where this thing all started. We started pushing for local control with school boards. And we believe that the decisions should be made at the most local level possible. And that's really what we're about. So you're not going to, if you are somebody who's, pro-vaccine for yourself and all that, and you realize maybe it shouldn't be mandated for the kids, or maybe it shouldn't be mandated to where employees are going to lose their jobs if they choose not to do it. Like, we welcome you under our tent. You are welcome with us because we are about freedom of choice. And guys, I firmly believe with everything in me, we're willing to risk everything and put everything on the line for this moment in time, this moment in history, because this is our moment to stand. And I believe firmly that Tulare County can lead the way in California.
Yes, right.
Tulare County can lead the way in California. So before you leave, I encourage you to get with us. And we're not done yet. We're going to have question and answer here. But before you leave tonight, get in contact with those of us who are in the area where you live. Come join our group if you haven't. And, we're not trying to boost numbers, but we're trying to connect people is what we're trying to do so we can build this army and join the fight. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Now, it just changed. That's good. I don't know what happened with our I was watching you get fuzzier and fuzzier on the feed, and it just cleared up. Okay, so we're in good shape. Thank you.
Like the way you look home.
Okay, we're going to go to question and answer time now. And what I'd like you to do is, first of all, think of a question and make it concise and not, we don't need to have now 50 more speakers for the next hour. We really want to have some questions that are specific and can be answered. But more importantly, if you can think of a question that can be given to one of these speakers you've seen tonight, that would be even more beneficial. If you have a question that actually say, hey, can you answer this for me? And if they can't, then we're gonna, we'll mold all their brains together and finally come up with an answer. There are also others in the room who I would welcome some of their expertise. We've got medical folks, we have school board folks, we have school district folks, we had even law enforcement folks. I think you may have had to leave as well. We have here's a good word. I like to use it when I'm teaching at COS. We have a plethora of expertise that is here. But I also want to remind you something. In my role as a trainer in this program that I'm involved with at COS, when speaking to adults, I say something to them. I said, I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm going to remind you what you have forgotten about how to treat one another. And it comes out in management styles and things like that, all kinds of topics. And so what I want to remind you tonight is, don't forget how to treat one another, how we started this whole evening. Now, we want to be civil, but we do want to get some answers. We want you to be able to air some questions. Now, the other interesting, I'm going to have to make an administrative decision. I'm going to hand the mic to our folks to answer, and you're going to have to just stand up and be bold and loud, okay? Because I don't have 2 microphones, but I have a voice that can work just as well as a microphone. So I'm going to hand this here. So As you have a question, stand up and I'll point to you and let you be the first question. Oh, we've got back in the room there. I feel like I'm not here now. Let's start right there. Nice and big.
First up, I want to thank you guys so much for putting this deal on. It feels like, outside of school board meetings, whenever we're standing in front of them, advocating for our kids, we're losing the fight and our voices are heard.
Yeah.
So to be in a room right here, I think I cry more now than I do at church. So thank you, each of you, so much for advocating for all of us, for all of our kids, for all of the staff, all of the people that are up against losing their jobs because of stupid job. It's ridiculous. So this isn't a question for you, this is a quick statement for everybody to hear, and there's something I have to input for you. We'll make it quick. This isn't a sermon. After the recall was stolen, my wife is a teacher in my village, and after I work in ag, so it's like years, it's a wild west, there's no shots, there's no, we don't care. My wife was terrified for her job because we are absolutely against putting this into our bodies against our kids. We started looking outside of the state. I was talking to friends in Idaho, we have family in South Carolina. There were serious searches for property. Something came over me and said, "Duff, this isn't right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run. This is the battle. You have to engage in it. Until the battle is over, I'm going to be here."
Yes.
So my wife, being brilliant, calls me last week and says, "Hey, you know those stickers that say my job depends on ag?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in ag. I know that." So what if we did one that said my job depends on medical freedom?
Yes.
And I was like, "Ooh, that's good." So I hung up the phone quick and I called John Goss, who's sitting right over here, to Market Visuals, and I said, "Hey, here's an idea." He said, "Oh my gosh, I can print them for you right away." So this is the battle that I'm engaging, my wife and I are engaging. It's a simple sticker. I get it. Yes, there it is, right there. I have a whole So John said, "Here's the cost. We're basically going to give you a cost. I have a stack of them tonight. Grab one, slap it on your car. It's not going to, turn the tide, but gosh dang it, it's going to start some momentum."
Good job.
Real quick. Oh, sorry. Am I an American if my vote isn't counted? That's right. And that's a true question. Are we Americans if our votes aren't counted?
Yes.
Go ahead, Josh. Thanks.
Josh.
I wanted the other one. That's a good one.
Can you go to the podium? Can you go to the podium?
Can I go to the
Yeah,
button?
that's right. We have a camera.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Right here.
The trick though is that we must fix a broken system.
Yeah.
And you know that. We all have to. And it's going to be each and every one of us to fix that system. I do not have the answer, but I think the answer might be in the room. But real quick, I want to tell you, great job. And that's taking action, coming up with an idea. That's all it takes. We are in an information war. You're getting information out, the one that counts, to wake people up. So great job for you and your wife. And I'm sorry you guys are going through everything you're going through.
All right, we have a question in the back of the room first. Come on, that's Mr. Sunset. There we go. All right.
Paul Myers with the Sunset newspaper, case me, let us know the staff name, I really appreciate it.
Oh, shoot, everybody leave.
My question is actually for Josh. I didn't hear what your science background was, so I was hoping that you could
Sure.
talk a little bit more about it. What company you guys work for?
I don't know if I'm going to throw my company out there.
No. You're the lawyer that you're contacting.
Sure, I'll give you a little bit on that. So what we do is, so my background is actually in hazardous material. So I have to study these things called safety data sheets. So whenever they publish the ingredients of those things, you said, right? Say things. The stuff that we were able to actually read, I actually printed every one of them and read it. I would just say, I wouldn't suggest putting it in there, in your body, but that's just me. Because it says it on the label. But with that being said, my background, I oversee about 4,000 or so population, let's put it that way. And so I'm pretty busy doing the hazardous material stuff.
I'd like to actually bring something up that maybe you guys don't know about, or maybe you guys don't haven't heard about this yet. But my significant other, my spouse, she works for the state, let's say, okay, and she works for the prison. Okay, so if you guys know any officers, if you guys know any nurses, anybody that works in prison, they had a meeting that said that if they saw anything on Facebook, they saw anything on social media that was speaking out against the jab or against the governor or against anything, that they would be fired.
Wow, that's America. Oh, boy.
That is what we're living in right now. So she has taken off her socials. She can't say anything on there. Neither can anybody who works in the prison. So if you haven't seen anybody who works in the prison speaking out against these things, it's because of that. Because they can't. They're being silenced. And that's the mess that we're in. So, we currently have a religious exemption in, and we're waiting to hear on it. So, just pray for people that work in prisons and that will be safe and bring time because they are being silenced.
If I might add too, we have, I know this sounds like a plug, but on unmaskedtularecounty.com, we have resources there where you can find things. We don't have actually the specific on law enforcement, but we do have a wonderful resource, Peggy Hall.
Yes.
A healthy American. She actually has attorneys, forms, all kinds of wonderful things. There's a link right there very easy to find. We have a question, Ray.
Hold on.
Casey,
You're gonna
what's
address
up?
it.
Go ahead,
No, go ahead.
No, you address it. Go ahead, Casey. Do it.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to thank our superintendent, Tulare County Superintendent, our board members for coming. I want you guys to know that they are on our side. So they're trying their best. That's all I wanted to say because I did hear a little bit of some sly comments a little earlier. But they are on our side. So I do appreciate you guys coming here.
Isaiah 4:6 says, "My people suffer for a lack of knowledge."
That's right.
Silencing of our people is exactly what the enemy wants.
Yes. That's right.
We are the people.
Yes.
We are America.
Yes.
I live up on a mountain up there, and I don't have much to do with too many people that are local. I'm down here because I don't want to lose the sovereignty of our people.
Right.
The government will not give me or add to my freedoms. I'm free.
That's right.
And whatever any one of you up here that have, my question to you tonight is, I do have one. Whatever you need me to do, I'm there. I'll hit the bricks with you. I'll make contacts with you. I'll speak out with you and for you, and I am going to be there. And I'm asking everyone else here to stand with me too. There.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And thank you, sir, for standing up and saying those things. This is what we're hearing all over the place. So when we talk about us not being alone in here, this is a fraction of the people who are reaching out to us with the same kind of passion, with the same kind of resolve, and saying, you know what, we've seen enough. Enough is enough. We're going to take this thing back, and whatever you need, just thank you. Thank you for that. And we would encourage, there's just so many people who feel like we're alone, we're on an island. And, I believe it's a trick of the enemy, right? It's a deception. It's a way to keep us divided. But there are so many of us who believe so strongly about these things. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you're the minority or you're crazy or, whatever. Just go along with this. There are, especially in this county, there are so many of us who are in the same boat. Thank you.
All right, we're going to do this together. We have a question for you, Jen. Cindy and I are both educators in Tulare County. And one thing that we are being forced to do right now is weekly testing. And we do not want.
Wait. We can't hear you up
Right.
there.
Can we, oh, sorry.
Go ahead and bring it out.
If you're an educator.
I don't know if it'll come out here or not. We try.
Right, okay. I have a coaching voice too, so I can yell.
You can stand down there.
There you go. You're good.
But
You say there's a camera in the back.
one thing that we're concerned about is the weekly testing. Because one, I've already had COVID, I've been exposed, and there's been no discussion on natural immunity. Two, I really feel like it's a discrimination issue.
Yeah.
Because people who have been vaccinated can still get COVID and they can still spread COVID. So why, because of my choices and my convictions, am I sent to a weekly testing center where they herd us like cattle? I mean, everybody can see and they point, and it's very, it's intimidating for one. But it's like, oh, those are the ones that won't comply. They're right over there. And they have a specific time and date for us where we have to go to test. And it has to be off the clock. You know, we have to do it during our own personal time. And if we don't comply, we will lose our jobs. And so, you know, I've been an educator for 17 years in Tulare County.
I've been for 30.
And Wendy's been for 30.
I've been for 30 years. My husband for 20 and I'm a substitute teacher.
And I mean, it's just ridiculous. So what are our rights there? Because the testing swab in everything I have studied and researched is not FDA approved.
That's oxide in it, and I don't want to do that.
And I've actually gotten medical doctor's notes stating that I need a saliva test and crickets. I'm not getting that response.
And I've been coaching too, and so I haven't had a chance to go to our school board, but now that tennis season is done, I'm gonna start approaching them, and I have to be the voice of teachers in our county. I'm a curriculum coach, and I go to 6 high school sites in Porterville. And I can't tell you the number of times I've entered a teacher's classroom to support them, and they're fearful, and they cry. And I've had so many teachers say, I don't want this shot, but I'm so afraid for everything. And for me, I feel like, you know, God has called me and kind of put me in this place because I feel like, oh no, now I have to be the teacher voice. Because I feel like these teachers are so afraid to speak up for themselves. And so I love seeing everyone out here because I have to tell you, I've been rallying outside of our testing sites and I've been all alone out there trying to get these teachers to know that they're not alone. And it's really intimidating and I've been stressed and it's hard. And so
Formulate a question.
So our question, Tim, is do we have to comply to this testing? Why this mandate? Why are we being discriminated against?
And if we don't,
Keep it talking.
If he wants to, you should ask him first.
How can we support the superintendent's idea? You said they're for us.
Yeah.
How can we support the board and the superintendent? What can we do to make their job so that our jobs aren't on the line? I think this is a good question. Because our jobs are on the line. What can we do for, not just him, but all of the board members, all of the superintendents? What can we do?
One question at a time for Tim.
Right.
Say 8,000 at a time.
Yeah, he's got it.
I don't know if it works this way.
I don't have the answer for you as to why. Okay, that's a question that I've asked the director of the California Department of Public Health. It is part of the statements that I've made to the governor and the governor's staff. I have letters complaining about the
unless we carry this message to him. He's not coming here to listen to us, I can promise you that. So if you're asking my opinion about what you can do what I've done. I've sent nasty grams to every one of the representatives from Kern County to the edge of Tulare County. And I sent letters to our governor, and I told our state superintendent of public instruction that we elected him to advocate for our children, and I wanted to know what he was doing about it. So that's the kind of action, in my opinion, that you need to take. The more that we do that, the more attention that we'll get and the better chance we'll have to affect change.
What if we just didn't comply?
Exactly.
Yes, that's what we just said, enough
My kid goes to school every day.
Oh, I got it.
Sorry.
No, you're right. So I wanted to jump in. I don't need and I appreciate what you're saying. But remember, an unjust law is no law at all. So we stand together. You say, I have this mandate on the board, I just can't enforce it. They're not listening. Problem solved. Parents, see, the problem that has happened here is we're not letting the parent make the decision. It's the parent's decision, not the state's. That's the issue that we're having here. All they have to do is informed consent. It's over. Hey, if you want to wear a mask, they wear a mask. That's not what's happening. We're being told, and that's the issue. Paul, you're back to you, sir.
Okay, we have.
So my name is John Cannon. I'm a part of Unmasked Tulare County. I've been out of it for a couple of weeks. But thank you for being here. I was actually shocked to see you here. It's kind of brave. I got a question for you. Now that you've spoken, I got a question for the leaders up there. How much money did Tulare County get in COVID funds? I know right now that Tulare City School District K through 8 still has $12 million as of last board meeting. They don't know what they're spending the money on. And I know for a fact that that's what put our kids in masks for another school year, and that's why our teachers are having to lose their jobs if they don't want to test or get the jab.
You're partially correct in my opinion.
I am.
Maybe you should run for county superintendent.
I probably should. But how much money did Tulare County get in COVID funds last year?
I don't know the dollar. There's a multitude of relief funds from the federal government and the state government. And a lot of those funds came with what we as educators call strings. Some of it is for mental health. Some of it is for connectivity to ensure that every student has internet access and a device. Some of it is for, I don't like to use this term, but it's the most widely recognized, learning loss or accelerated learning. Some of it is for hiring additional support staff. And so it's not as simple to say that you got all this money and it was contingent on you wearing masks, because we got money before the mask mandate.
Yes.
We got money during the mask mandate. And I want to dispel the rumor right now. The vaccination mandate is not a mandate yet. It is, for all intents and purposes, it is coming, but it is not a mandate yet. And I get back to the point that I made earlier. There's two ways that that's going to happen. And this is really important. It's really important for me because I agree with you wholeheartedly that we shouldn't be doing this to kids. Okay? So this is my best shot that I can come up with so far. There's two ways that mandate's going to come down. One is the governor's going to use his authority through the California Department of Public Health to do another mandate. In doing so, by law, if he chooses to do so, which I 100% believe he will, if we can't stop it, that's our best option. Because by law, that mandate from the California Department of Public Health will allow for a religious or a personal belief or health exemption. Okay? The other way,
Until Sacramento
Right.
kills that exemption.
that's the second way.
Come January.
The second way is the legislature takes it up and passes a law. And in doing so, can vote to eliminate those exemption options. And that's why I get back to the most important thing that we can do to bring about change is make sure that our legislators know our position. I don't think we're going to stop the train on the mandate for kids from our governor. But what we want to do is make sure, in my opinion, for my family, for the kids that I'm trying to serve, I still want parental choice. And so we need those exemptions to be a part of that mandate so that you all have the ability to make that choice for what's best for you and your children.
So the question to you guys is, you just heard them say, you're partially right. So part of our kids, this half of the room, your kids are wearing masks because of the money our county took from the state and federal government. What are we gonna do as a group to actually fight? Because we have to start with board members to take our schools back. And if we don't start taking those steps, then we're really not fighting it. We're just gathering.
That's right.
Like, which one of us wants to take that one, right? Huh? Your turn. My turn. So I get asked the question all the time, okay, are we gonna do this? Are we going to like continue to go to board meetings? Are we going to recall board members? Are we going to, have people stand up to run for school board or run for these different things? Are we going to sue them? Are we going to just stop complying? Like what is it that we're going to do? And I always answer the same way, is yes. So hang on just a second. So here's the thing. One of the things that I learned, I'm a connector. Like my wheelhouse is going in, trying to connect people, connect with the school boards, like try to figure out a solution, like those kind of things. My wife's a little bit more of a firecracker than I am. Okay. So no, it's just a good thing. And here's one of the things that I've learned over the course of this process is, I would feel like a responsibility at the school board meetings to come in at the end and try to maybe clean something up or make it all better or whatever. And then I learned at one of the board meetings that we were going, there was just a lot of kind of hellfire and brimstone, coming from people. And I just had this check and I said, what, it's not like my way is not always the best. Sometimes that is appropriate to do that. Sometimes it is bringing in an attorney. Sometimes it is just flat out saying no and pulling your kids from the school system. And we talk about the sit outs and all of that kind of stuff. I agree with you. I don't think that materially the sit outs are going to cause the school boards to say, you know what, we're going to do a 180. But what they do is they unite people like us, right? They cause us to get together and they cause the army to grow. And so I think that the answer, John, is that all of the above is the right answer. And so, what I love about the network of groups that we've been, the people that we've put together is Josh's wheelhouse is different than my wheelhouse. Casey's is different than mine and Josh's. Marilyn's is different than mine. Yours is different than any of us. And so what we need to do is band together, realize it's a community. Don't get pissed off at me because I'm not doing it the way you would do it. Let's rise up. Let's come together. Let's build the army. Armies have different divisions. We got to figure this thing out, and then people have to take leadership in different sides of what we're going to do.
And time's getting short.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll jump in. Back to January. They start doing contract negotiations in March, April, and May.
So check this out. Bruce and I have talked about this. This is called laying suppressive fire. Okay. They're coming at us. They're coming at us hard. And I understand what you're saying. Now, what I would love is for the school districts and to turn around and sue the state. But no, here's the deal. Because if the school district receives their religious exemption and then denies them for that because of their rules, they are now in violation of the Constitution, which would allow us to file equitable relief. By filing equitable relief, It costs a lot of money to do it in the federal court. However, it'll put a stay on everything in the county. And that's what we're going to do. But I would sure wish the school district would do it for me, but that's not going to happen. Now, as far as your question about the students, if I could get 100 parents to pledge $1,000, we could take this all the way to the Supreme Court, and we could put the same stay using an equitable relief for our children in Tulare County. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it all, just like Jimmy said.
No, they're not working.
Well, and here's the thing. If we're gonna go and stand up and say something, then and abide by these mandates, then they should have to prove that COVID has been isolated.
Yeah, we're not gonna abide by their gun.
It's crickets, guys.
It's
It
not-
already got taken to court in Canada. They couldn't prove it. We're done. Case closed. Take off the masks.
It's over.
End of discussion.
All right, so your hand was up, Paul? Okay.
I want to know, to petition where we can all sign when we get together like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those of you who went to Nixter Park and did petitions, if you will return them, it would be great. We started that over at Nixter Park when we went there on a Saturday.
No, I'm talking about just one.
Exactly, more. We
Sign
need
with
more.
everybody that's here today.
We need
And
more.
every time that we get together,
Yes, we need
then
more.
we bring another.
Well, what about, instead of petitions, what about each of us signing a letter? And then
Right,
after each-
amen.
After each
That's the way to
gathering,
go. Mail it.
If somebody can draft one up, I would be willing and sign it.
That's you, Andrew.
We need something.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but yes, we'll find somebody.
I have to use the microphone because my voice is crappy. I'm also an educator, so shout out to the teachers in town here. I'm a 20-year educator at Tulare Western High School. And some of what I was going to ask kind of partially got answered by Mr. Ward and his conversation about the threats. Because I don't think a lot of people knew that school boards and administrators have been threatened with not only fines and jail time, but also loss of their credential. They're using this as and not just them, but like me, if I chose to walk around my room without a mask, they could say, well, you're not protecting the health of your students, so you're gonna strip you of your credential. So it's bigger than just like my job, it's my future. And this is kind of the excuse that my administration is telling me, like on the secret, on the sly, they're saying, I totally agree with you, but like you guys said, my hands are tied because they're holding this over my head. And they literally say, I'm not going to lose my credential over this. And I'm like, people are willing to lose their jobs over this whole thing. Maybe you could stand up and support us. So my question, yes, I'm looking for courage and bravery and exactly what you guys are all saying is like, stop the lip service. Let's just do it. Like you can actually not follow the so-called mandate. You can. So my question is, and I don't know if this came up with the lawyer, stripping us of our credentials for this, is that legal? I mean, is that something that, I was shocked when I learned that, and that letter that I saw was dated in August of 2021. So it wasn't even, it was before, or August or September, it was before the vaccine mandates were even coming down.
And I understand what you're saying, and I'm sorry you're going through this, just like everybody else who's going through this. But you guys must realize, as much of a concern as that is, you're not the only one. They're going after doctors, they're going after lawyers, they're going off of anybody who is credentialed or licensed through the state. At some point, this isn't going to work.
That's right.
Right? And so the time is now. The time is you stand up and you push back. Yes, we're going to lose everything. But if you don't stand and lose everything now, they're going to pick us off one by one.
I don't know how long enough, but
You are.
throughout history,
one of the biggest entities that can fight and is in opposition to government. And that's one of the reasons the church.
Right. The one place that we could have gone for healing from COVID, people couldn't go. So it's also a resource that you all can consider as far as when you pull children, and I believe everybody should just have pulled their kids out of school 3 weeks after this all started, and it would have been over.
Right.
But if you pull your kids unannounced, you don't need to know about it. As great as you are, right? Surprise the day it happens. Pull them out, put them in church, school, in church. They're still getting their schooling. You still have a place to go where you can connect. And the other thing you have is the Constitution with the freedom of religion. They just won that judgment where the state should never have closed those churches. Right. Yep, you're right. That's all I want. Thank
Go with her, and maybe one of you can answer that. With the funding that the schools get, will it affect private funding, for the private schools and the private schools?
Well, they won't get funding for those kids that aren't there. The school, public school.
Yeah, no, private schools. So they're affected as well. And then they're gonna have to get the job and they're, so it's
Unless they stand up to them, which some are standing up and say, we're just doing school.
okay.
All kids that some of these Catholic schools are also, they're
So here is just one of the things that we're going to ask you guys to do when you leave here is to go out and talk to your churches, talk to your pastors, talk to your neighbors, everybody else. Talk to your teacher friends. I mean, we've seen this in Tulare. We've seen this in our district. There's 600 teachers that have SSW. It's about half of their employed staff. So we know that they're there, but they are very timid. Most of them, a lot of them are very timid. They don't understand. I'm asking everybody to have conversations with everybody in people, whether it's teacher friends, whether it's pastor friends, whether it's structural friends or doctor friends or whoever. We need to build courage. And exactly what we're talking about tonight. We are not alone. There's an army that's building. We need to have those exact same conversations. In every industry, I mean, you guys saw the Southwest Airlines issue, right? When enough people just say, no, we're not going to do it. You see this for more and more large corporations and places like this. People just gather together and say no. Then things actually change. And in my opinion, and we can disagree, Tim, or whatever. But if enough people, if enough parents, enough employees just stood up and said, just flat no, we're not going to do it. You can fire me. You can't fire 300 of us. You can't fire 400 or 500 of us. Like, what are you going to do? And the problem is, and Tim and Josh mentioned this is that we're faced with the decision of do we lose everything, or do we comply? And I mean, I can tell you, like my wife and I, we made the decision. We're going to stand in our conviction. Like, regardless of what that is, like she told me earlier, in the industry that I work in, it's a real possibility we're going to lose them. I'm going to lose them. We might be calling you guys and asking for a room to stay in. But we have to, at some point in our lives, are we going to say, come what may, whatever comes, we're going to take a stand? That's the courage that we need to build in our neighbors. And we need to help people realize, okay, if I stand up to my job, yeah, you might if it's just you. But talk to everybody. How many hundreds of people work in your facility who live the same way that you would, and you get them to just take a stand? So I don't even know what that looks like. We're working on how to build that courage. But it starts with conversations. It starts with people knowing it's not just around their dinner table having these conversations. That it is literally everywhere. Everyone is having these conversations. And in a place like Tulare County, where over 50% of our eligible population is not vaccinated, we know that at this point people have made a decision At this point, people have made decisions. Build the courage. When it comes to your churches, I mean, I don't know. Our church never closed. So I hear, all kinds of different churches did a lot of different things and compassion chose to close. But, you may want to, have that conversation to figure out. We got a lot of questions. Like, so I'm gonna stop talking.
Would never wear a mask. For the school nurse, you wear the mask to work.
I sure do.
Is that a personal choice?
If
you need to work, you're under duress.
I have to. If I'm in my office by myself.
I know what the rules say.
Okay.
I know what the rules say.
The rules say I have to wear a mask. I say I don't. It's a personal choice. Your kids don't have to wear a mask. Send them to school without a mask. Let the school take action. The same way I told my boss, bring in my replacement. I'll take months off. I don't mind. Mr. Heyer, the people in this room would know that I'm Joseph Beaton Hospital Laboratory Scientist if they could watch the videos on YouTube of me speaking at the school board meetings. All of those school board meetings have been deleted from YouTube. Explain.
Visalia Unified.
Visalia Unified
I don't have
School
any
District.
authority over Visalia Unified to put those or demand those. That's up to their superintendent and their board.
I'm sorry, I don't even know why they've been deleted. I can't get a response. Oh,
For 1 month.
sorry?
They only archive for 1 month.
Then there's graduations that are 2 years old.
I'm in the meetings.
Well, and that's, I think that's an issue specifically with them about the access.
Yeah, go there and definitely.
So I feel that we have more people who have like reaching out, more parents will be willing to listen.
1,000%.
So you can like your fear. So listen to people and they have their stories or tell their stories. You ask them to speak out.
Yeah, come find me afterwards.
We're glad you're here.
See these events up here? Everywhere we go, every store, every building has ABC and community desks. And if you put HEPA filters in, like that are in our vacuum cleaners, it is, on airplanes, it takes out 99.97% of anything airborne, from pet dander to mold and COVID. And then that would be a really easy solution. Nobody would have to wear a stupid mask. Carbon dioxide, and then that moisture into your lungs, like sticking a potato in a tailpipe. And giving people mercy and pneumonia so that they could say, oh, it's COVID. I'm in caregiver for off and on for 21 years. I lived off my savings last year for 6 months, going out there with homeless people, 6 hours a day. They got on sugar, up down community and up and down alleys. Not one of those people had a mask on, and not one of those people.
They're exempt. They're exempt.
They're strong, they got no scars, they got so much dirt on them. I feel like people look down on it.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
It is a great idea. And that's part of the, we talked earlier about how 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 with a lot of this, right? So there are so many things along those lines. You talk about natural immunity. There's another one. The list is going on. Why are we not doing some of the things or having discussions that need to be had? And, I'm right there with you. I agree. And I know that a lot of the schools are doing a lot of innovation and all of that as well. But you're exactly right. There are conversations we need to have.
one more thing. I refuse to wear masks. I got 86 down at the Big Five Smart Final because they acted like Barney Fife with me. And I said, no, I don't have to wear a mask. Not a lot, okay? Sorry, that's me. But one time, I agreed to take a test. So I could pray for Diane and a complex home, which I call genocide out legally. They said I have to take a test. So I thought I was being smart. And this is what you were saying. I thought, well, where is the coffee? They're trying to put something else together, I know.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't made a name. So I thought I was being smart. She fixed it in the solution. She hands it to me. I swab my nose. Wait 15 minutes. And I got present swab my nose. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to do the solution to everything. So I went, are you kidding me? Now, the only thing I can do is pray for Diane, okay? One time I agreed to it, and God have mercy on me. Half hour later, my eyes twitching. I can't open my jaw. I'm burning all my sun in my face. I'm like, oh God, no. And then I looked at my lips, picture on my phone. And it's for testing people for methamphetamines. It wasn't even a COVID test. And it says if it comes in contact with your mucous membranes, it causes brain cancer. Okay? And so I'm done. And that's why I did this test after test. Where's the swab made? What's the solution? Tuesday, my friend at Walmart got this. I'm in Walmart. That's weird. You know, excuse my language, but a faxer of pulled it out with a blob of blood on it. Sorry.
Yeah, question over here.
Walmart employee, not a doctor.
Paul's working this side of the room, which, yeah, right here at the red.
It's not really a question, it's more comment on but you mentioned how our kids, they didn't wear masks. And I have 9-year-olds and a 13-year-old, and I do get phone calls that they don't wear the mask correctly. That they could get in trouble, and eventually maybe even get suspended if they are not wearing a mask. So we have, they do try to get breathers to take a break, but we're told to do it every day. We have to be in class.
My kid goes to the same school and still doesn't wear a mask. Nobody's sending, they send her home for misbehaving.
This is the problem is the mask. My kids don't always want to have it even above their nose. And so, yes, you get phone, I get phone calls.
So they accept them home and they send them home. And then send them back the next day. Stand up for your kids.
Yeah, that's it. So a question on this side of the room and then over here.
I just wanted to say, I'm not gonna give away because I just want to say really, really quick. This is a question of loyalty in my eyes. This is how I feel in my heart. Are we gonna be loyal to this or are we going to be loyal to that? This is a community of beautiful people who have come together, unified as a family. All of us have become family. We love one another, we know about one another, we're getting into everybody's business. Hey, you need help here, hey, you need help there. My question, and to anybody whose ears are listening, who are you going to be loyal to? Are you going to be loyal to us, your family, you, my family? You know what I'm saying here? This is our family. Who is you going to be loyal to? Or are you going to be loyal to this?
Just say scumbag.
That up there was mad because he had to cheat to make the recall not happen. Okay? The bottom line is we are family here, and if it doesn't start in this town, in this family, what town? What family?
Right.
Now, today, here, we are family.
My question is for the school board here tonight. Are you all here tonight, or is there anybody missing?
Part of the board. I think they're parts of the board.
Parts of the board? How many members comprise the board? 7. And how many are here tonight? 2. Okay. For the 2 board members that are here tonight, obviously what we're talking about is freedom of choice, right? Freedom of the parents' choice for their kids.
And my question to you that are here tonight, and obviously because you're here, I'm sure I know the answer, but are you with us or are you against us? Good question.
I think it was mentioned earlier, and we don't have to repeat it. However, yes, we are here in support of local choice by parents, by
I just want to say that I've thought a lot about this, a lot. Similarly to the gal that says that, you know, stuff is stirring inside. And I just want to say that I've also thought of leaving the state and blah, blah, blah. But if people like us don't stay in the positions that we are in, because this isn't just the only position that I hold, I still work in a school district. If we do leave, others will replace us. And so I'll respect anyone's opinion, but I do always ask to be respected, because we weren't asked to be here as board members tonight, but we're here. And if you don't stand with us like we're trying to stand with you, someone else will take the seat. And it may not be someone that.
I'll take, and you don't have to explain. I'll take your presence being here tonight, the 2 board members out of the 7.
I'm the superintendent.
Okay. I'm sorry, the 1 out of the 7?
No, there's 2.
There's 2. I know where Mark stands. The 2 out of the 7. I'll take that as you guys do support what we're trying to accomplish here. For the other 5, however, for the other 5 that did not show up here tonight.
It would have been 4.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, if the other 5 don't support whatever, then we'll do our next step next time we go for.
Gotta start removing school board members, guys. They gotta take care of us locally, or we gotta remove them.
Well, we know that there's 2 that.
Yes, these 2 are great. Would you guys step up and help remove other
I do
board
want to say
members?
that, just thank you to the school board member representatives. Questions. But it does take courage to come into what you knew was probably potentially a hostile environment. And, you know, and from us who are up here, we recognize that courage and we say thank you for that. So we are just, I want to say real quick, we are a little after 8 o'clock. I can speak for myself. I'm willing to stay here and talk as long as we need to for people. If we have quick questions that can be addressed quickly, otherwise we do want to respect people's time.
I just want to make a statement from another board member. It's from Mike Kiefer. He just texted me. Tell that guy I'm at home watching. I stand with you all too. Some of us couldn't all make it, but we are united.
Wow. Yeah, Mr. Flowers, you had a question?
Yeah, I had something I wanted to say. You hit on it a little bit earlier. Then you talked about sending letters to the governor. We're gonna get thrown in the trash. So what you guys hit on earlier, you said you need to start as a county. This is a county thing, and then we could grow from there, but you gotta start as a county. Some of the things I've seen is our county, this is what they hit on earlier, our county sheriff has a lot of authority over this county. Those letters, if you're gonna make up letters, make them up and send them to Mike. Mike's actually on your side.
He was here. He was here tonight.
But he cannot do anything unless he gets a lot of names
Behind him.
behind him. But if we send those letters and everybody gets everybody you know to sign off on it here in the Tulare County and send that letter to the sheriff can tell, what's his name, is sticking, and it's not gonna happen, at least in his county. That's right. That's how it works.
getting in trouble, they say the walkout is stupid because none of their friends will do it, no one talks about it. But if anybody started something for the kids, for them to talk about it.
You know, I have a 15-year-old. I think they were in middle school district, and they started a Republican club on campus. And they're starting that conversation. And there's a group of kids that are trying to come together, and I think they're trying to rally enough courage to actually stand up and start removing masks. I mean, in their English class, they've been talking about social injustice. And so I told my daughter, I said, well, rip off that mask and say, this is for social injustice. So, I think that's fine. We have kids. Yes, I agree.
I think we can make it. You want me to actually make it? Yeah.
Because our kids, especially our high school kids, they do have a voice, and they do have an opinion. I was having a serve all of the high schools like Florida. And when you listen to the kids, and they don't want to have to be the and other students have told me that the vaccine was forced upon them because of the education. So we need to take that into consideration. And you heard it, yes, stand up.
I wanted to say something in regards to that. So I have a high schooler too. And obviously I've encouraged him to be a little rebellious with his mask. And he knows that when he comes home, he's not going to get in trouble with me. But he actually got sent to the dean of students on campus for not wearing a mask. And he was like, Mom, I just wanted to let you know before, like, I don't know if the school's going to contact you or what, but I wanted you to hear it from me first. Well, it's kind of interesting because the dean of students, his son is the silver medalist for the Olympics. Well, the reason why this is kind of interesting is because right now parents are not allowed on campus, right? Because of COVID. But they allowed this Olympian on campus. So my question to the school board was, why was this silver medalist allowed on campus, but parents aren't? And I said, yeah, this might be a once in a lifetime opportunity for our town to come home with, you know, like this medal. I mean, that's awesome. But you know what? My son's high school career is a once in a lifetime opportunity too. And then I got a call from the school. Oh, so I heard you want to come on campus. Yeah, I do. But I'm not going to wear a mask. I would like to invoke my religious exemption. It's a right given to us. We are invoking it. Never got a call back from the school.
Respecting everyone's time, we have exhausted the 2 hours that we had planned for you to be here and for our renting of the hall itself. What we want to do is this. We realize that we have not literally resolved every issue and every question, but hopefully we've started some good dialogue of what we need to be highlighting, what we need to be working towards. I think even our county superintendent gave us some good ideas of, I know many of us think, you know what, it's just going into the file 13 if we ever send a letter to our assemblyman or to the governor himself. But actually what we've learned is all those things are probably what we should be engaging in. All of them. Letters, emails, standing on the street corner if you need to, going to your school board meetings, mostly to support school board members who will say just what we've heard from some of them tonight, that we're with you. We don't want to see kids having to wear masks either. And we especially do not want to see them getting the vaccine, this experiment of experiments. So if I can conclude this evening, I know some of you are going to say, we're not finished. I don't know if we'll ever be finished. But I'd like to close in prayer if I can. Father, we thank you for every single person that's been here tonight. And everyone is essential. Their ideas, their unique things that you have made them. We are all unique in your eyes and from your hand. May we go from here with a purposed resolve to end tyranny, but to stand for truth and continue to care for one another, because ultimately that's what we do have control over. We can control how we treat every other person. Give us a safe journey home. But Lord, do not let us forget that it's okay to stand for truth and to ask your hand in all of this. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. Good night. And like I said, still have conversation, please. Oh, there is a donation basket up here if you want to chip in something for this evening. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful hair. All righty. Thank you. How you doing, buddy?
What was your first name? John. John Cannon?
Thank you so much. YouTube is limitless in the amount of space that we're given. And school board meetings that never right, school. Well, and the audience. Once there's people because of COVID that can't go to the meeting. That has to be up there because it's a public meeting. I can come and write every word you said down and publish it, and it's up there forever. Legally, they have to keep it for a certain time. They can keep it longer. So they're doing it legally. I agree with you. I agree. They're doing it along with the fact that. Do you watch the school board meetings at all? Do you attend them? No. Okay. If you attended them, you know at the end of most of the speakers, there's applause, just like there is here. But it's suppressed in the video. And I'm going to make... Sometimes I can hear it, but you're right, it's pretty faint. The same person speaking, if there's applause during the speech, loud and clear. If Kristen Corliss speaks, the Human Resources Director, at the same microphone I'm speaking at, when she finishes speaking, the applause comes through. I go to the very same microphone right after her, independent of them saying go to the back of the room and me saying, no, I'm going to speak at this microphone. I go to this very same microphone. Yeah. Well, again, if the school board meeting 2 school board meetings ago, 3 weeks ago, the school board meeting from 3 weeks ago was gone. Yes. Yeah. From 3 weeks ago, there's one meeting up there from 7 days ago. That's it. They deleted everything. They deleted every single one on their website except for the one 7 days ago. So this 1 month idea, no, they're deleting them all. And who is they? No, it's you two deleting them because it's all they were. say no. Why?
I mean, they already deleted it. I mean,
I understand, but why will this continue? I'm not looking for the hits or something.
right.
But it's to my friends, hey, other than requesting the transcripts, which anybody can get those, watch the progress, watch you've seen this weekend, watch how accurate
Then, yeah, freedom stickers. Are they gone? What's in those boxes right there?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I might get it from somebody else. Why is it? The information I get, you can't find it every day, and when I get that Thanksgiving, I'm sold information.
Somebody was asking. I don't know.
I definitely appreciate a respectful exchange of information. It's totally fine with me, and I saw nothing disrespectful with what you said. It was that, and no, I don't have any authority as to. I'm sending them emails and they're not responding to them. Why are these board meetings missing from YouTube? To all 7 board meetings, Doug useless Cardozo from the California that was authorized. I mean, I have a public records request for $5,000 since August, which is show me number of positive tests, show me number of negative tests, and show me number of students that you're quarantining.
How are you?
I filed a public records request on October 14th. Axel Condo says they haven't until November 5 to respond. He says he has the information. He's not disclosing it to me until November 5. That's going to say he'll decide what portion I'm going to get. And none of them. I know I'm way outside of the limits. I mean, if you can't get them environment that you're sending your kid to. Yeah, but for instance, if I was on the other side saying, I'm so scared of sending my kids to school because they're so having these conversations about how we were going to really get to schools. I mean, if I said my narrative is, I want to show how dangerous it is to be in a room like this saying, last I heard, Tulare County, 9 weeks they want to change the system. I'm not saying they said there was an implication tonight that has to start the changing of the mandates of the state and to protect that freedom. It's got to start somewhere. I don't disagree with that. It's got to start. But the reality is, this was happening last week. He spoke to me. I was completely against this. Say, hey, I'm going to make that clear to our state interests. Clear as a bell. Correct. But it wasn't, and majority of the superintendents, I had the majority of all of the superintendents in Tulare County with me that were not closing schools. San Diego Unified School District closed, LA County closed, Fresno closed, Columbus closed, then by 7. Because we're Republican, predominantly strong Republican county. But yet there are enough liberal people who have board members, superintendents, that 6 of one, half the other. We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. And so following the mandate protects as many people as possible until we can get enough momentum to get to. That's what I'm saying. The only way we're going to get the train stopped, you look at the recall election, in my opinion, a landslide victory in the recall election by the governor
That just is going, and that has empowered. How long did it take after the results of the recall election before he announced that he's going to mandate vaccination?
We all know that it was a mass no out in the fields and people were telling us to go. So it's not a that guy said earlier in my interview, he's questioning his sovereignty because of what's going on today. But that's why we need leaders like you. Elected leaders that swore an oath to the Constitution, that is a contract of the people. But he's also in that oath that we abide by all the laws of the land too. Yes, but when laws from the elites, from the elite, and I think those constitutional. I know, but you gotta real quick. He's also special, man. How long got married 3 weeks ago? Oh my God! 2 hours. One milestone you can have in the list. Patrol and try to come up with that. I look like with the way. Something like that. That's what it's going to take. And we were doing that. My point about talking about school closures, we did that when the schools closed. But we couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop it. We had the state superintendent of public instruction calling me. We had the governor's office calling me. We had CNN calling us. We were only able to comply with the local health officers who have the ability to shut schools down. There's only 3 people that can shut schools down. The governor, the local public health official, and the school board. So when schools shut down, it was because of the threat of local public health officials also putting pressure. I called them and said, when they did that schools, you're going to have to put an officer, and that's not going to be good for you in this county. Those were the kinds of conversations. How do we stop this? How do we keep schools open? How do we do that? I got to show you this. These are my son's face this last week. Let's chat with this. I hate for mine. Out of compliance and out of respect for others when I'm in my office. It's time, as someone in your position, you're a mandatory reporter, right? You see child abuse, you have to say something. You got to do this. You have to step up and talk to me and come up with a way of the system. Make your own mandates. You have my word on that. Well, I appreciate it, and I respect the fact that you're here. Courage, you're a man. I don't know how else to say that. I don't hide behind I appreciate you coming here and doing that. Just the way it is. I had to be everybody. I was impressed. She'll tell you that I have never been totally satisfied with my job. I feel frustrated. I feel like the things that I'm making always run over things that get in. Like some people say, I could completely agree. I told this that to your face in meetings. This is what's coming. Why is this? Let's just take the vaccine. The vaccine's not the same as the COVID vaccine. It's not the same as the vaccines that are mandated. It's like the flu shot. Well, and then they say it's change, right? It's mutated. It's a different Delta variant, this variant, that variant. The shot is the same shot. It's the first go. Yeah, I mean, I've been vaccinated. After being vaccinated. Did you have medicine? I don't support it. I see one day. I'm an American doctor. How would you?
This barbecue stayed very good. I dropped some in the works. Think outside the box. That's what you need. I appreciate it. My name is Greg Meister. It's good meeting you too. Thank you.
I know you know.
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say because I'm related to where it counts.
That sounds like
Yeah. She's got all of her coursework in. She just has to take the test. Because of COVID, there was a delay in the testing. She was taught in her class and they passed the MIC's test. She will start nursing school because all this timing is screwed up and everything. She'll probably start nursing school in the fall. Child children. His brother and his dad very fine. So